What is happening, everybody? My name is Justin Woodward, co-founder of The Mix, the Media Indie Exchange, and we are at Comic-Con, LA Comic-Con. Why do I have a brain fart? 2024.
2024? Yeah, it feels like it feels like 2024, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So who are we with?
Oh, that's me. Hey, I'm Jason Polansky. I'm the senior producer at Atari, and I'm the producer on Fatal Run 2089.
We're going to be showing Fatal Run 2089 and introduce yourself. I was going to say big boy, and that just sounded hella weird, so just keep going.
No, that's the thing is you said you were going to say it, but then you ended up saying it anyhow.
I had to say it.
I feel like I was just start playing the game.
I'm big boy Bannon Rudis. I'm here to help co-host and talk about Fatal Run 2089.
Yes. So we're going to show the game.
Now, are you afraid of some octogenarians playing this game in the year 2089? They're like, no, we were promised death races. This is nonsense.
No. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Look, I mean, we live that reality every time, right? The moment you watch Back to the Future, it's like, oh yeah, that's not what it was like at all. Where's my
where's our
hoverboard?
Weird Pepsis that come out of the
Yeah. Where's the Jaws that actually comes out of the movie theater and eats
the Jaws 3D?
Yeah. And look, I mean, anything's possible, you know? There could be a situation where, see, I just got shunted by an enemy there. Like, there's a situation where this is actually the optimal scenario versus what is the real 2089.
This is the future. Is fun, though.
I mean, this is the future I want to live in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but it's also a lot of fire. There's a lot of stuff being blown up.
It's fine. This is normal LA traffic. This is fine.
LA traffic. Have you ever seen this few cars in LA?
Not if you pull them up.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
That would be actually.
Are you trying to say this is like a solution to LA traffic?
Yeah, I think so.
This isn't even like this is my platform right now to talk to just I don't know. Infrastructure needs to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Cannons, you know what I mean? Plasma cannons on top. Tell us about the game. Like, how did?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the game.
The conception of it.
Yeah, sure. So Fatal Run is actually an Atari IP. It is a game that came out for the Atari 2600 and 7800 in, do you want to guess what year?
1989.
Very close. 1990.
Really? 90?
Yeah.
God.
It was actually one of the last 2600 games released. And believe it or not, it looked just like this. No, it didn't.
Exactly like this. Same specs and everything.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. It's weird. I think they basically banished it as witchcraft, which is why nobody ever heard of it.
Now, in this world, is there actual lore, or is it like, it's just this? We're just racing.
No, there is lore. Yeah, there's a. So this game, there is a whole storyline to it. The original game, you were basically delivering a cure to a disease, and at the end of each level, you would get to this town, and you'd be basically welcomed by the populace, who would either thank you or explode. And that's kind of it, right? Like, between levels, you would go to this shop and you would be able to get some stuff for your car. And this game kind of captures a few of those elements, but, we definitely take some liberties. And by we, I'm specifically talking about the developer at Monster. That's MNSTR. They are located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it was actually them who came up to us with this idea. So at Atari, we're the publisher. We will often field proposals from developers, and they'll say, hey, we got this cool idea for a game. And I'm like, all right, cool. These guys came to us and they said, yeah, we want to make a game based on Fatal Run. Oftentimes we'll talk to these developers and they'll say, show us your IP list. And we're like, all right, here's the IP list. It's actually on our website. You can see the IP list. And they're like, yeah, we want to make this Fatal Run game. And they had a prototype of a driving game that was already pretty fun. And they said, yeah, it's this world that's post-apocalyptic, it's heavy metal, and it's cyberpunk. And this is early playable, and it's inspired by a lot of these arcade racing games. Not necessarily, you say back in the day, not as far as 1990, but definitely late 90s, throughout the 2000s. We're not talking about anything newer past the, the 360, PS3 generation, because those games don't really exist anymore. And Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. So, Monster, were they like? Was this a nostalgic experience for them on the original like Atari console?
Maybe a little bit to an extent. Like a lot of this stuff is actually inspired by the original without truly just being the original. Like for example, the you'll notice on the back of the car there's these lights, right?
Yeah, I was noticing that's really cool.
Yeah, so those lights are actually the HUD. So that like I just picked up this yellow and I'm gonna pick up this purple bar here. That gives me missiles. And those bars are actually a direct reference to the HUD from the 2600 version of the game.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yes.
Reminds me totally of obviously like Dead Space, right? Where you have
The diegetic UI is
cool.
a
Yeah,
word
that's
that's come up. Now, in case that's too much and you want more specifics, those are also around on the bottom of the screen, so you could see the details there.
That's
So
cool.
you are not racing against anybody in this, right? This
No.
is just you getting to the finish.
Correct. Well, it depends. So for this demo, there's actually 3 levels. That first one that you just saw is a scenario where you just have to get to the end of that level.
Yeah.
Right. This is an ambush, and the purpose of the ambush is
Like
to.
right now?
Yeah, this is an ambush.
Oh God,
You're
are your
being-
friends gonna jump out?
I don't know. You're at Comic-Con. You never know what's going to happen.
Ambush. Gotcha.
So in the ambush scenarios, your goal is to, just like it said, eliminate 12 enemies. So you got to eliminate a certain amount of enemies. This is all subject to balancing. By the way, I should say, this is an early version of the game. This is pre-alpha. So
Really? Pre-alpha?
Yeah, pre-alpha.
A lot has been put into this so far. I mean, I saw it at PAX too because I was
Yeah.
Jason and Bob, but I mean, I was like, dang, this game looks like it's about to come out.
Well, it is going to come out in 2025, though we haven't said much more than that.
Okay.
The beauty of pre-alpha is pre-alpha could be anything before alpha.
So how are the levels structured?
Right. So okay. So I was
Yeah,
getting into
'cause
that. So
I
this is
saw that
another
right
type,
there.
which is an ambush. So your goal is to destroy a certain amount of enemies. There's the one where you have to get just to the end of that from point A to point B, and then there's circuits where you have to survive a lap, and then there's boss fights, and there's one of those in this demo as well.
I would love to see how you guys pulled that off.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to show it.
Because I mean, I guess I'll eventually see, but I'm trying to think of like, is it a Twisted Metal thing, or are they still racing against you kind of thing? I'm excited.
Well, to your point, not a race. The actual structure of the game is, as a throwback to those arcade games like a San Francisco Rush or even an Outrun, right? Like the goal is to basically survive as long as you can before your time runs out.
Yeah.
So our timer is that bar at the top of the screen, which is now gone, but you'll see it soon. I'll show you the boss fight.
Chase HQ is another one that I loved.
I
don't know if
love
you-
that.
Yeah.
That game is
Like you're
dope.
not racing against anything. It's just accomplish the goal.
So at the top of the screen, and this kind of, you asked about the lore, and I definitely got off topic, is
That's cool.
We tend to do that.
basically a comet has hit the Earth, and you have to, and it's caused all this radiation to go into the air, and there's this source of dirty energy called the grid, which is being run by this group called the Enlightened. And some scientists have developed this, or the engineers have developed this technology called the arc. And the arc will basically, it's the thing that's basically going to make everything better, right? It's the clean energy source. And you are delivering that to key places in the world in order to basically clean the air and get it on this clean source of energy and clear out the radiation. But the Enlightened are trying to stop you. So everybody's trying to stop you, and that is really ultimately the goal as you're trying to drive these arcs into these various city centers around the world. And so at the top of the screen is the arc reactor integrity, and that's constantly dropping.
Oh.
So if that hits 0, it's game over. And if it's game over, then it's back to the beginning. So the structure is like that arcade style where you have to keep going, and if it hits 0, well, it's back to the beginning,
That is one of the harder things to do when developing a game is like, how do you capture the feeling of an arcade when we're not plugging in a bunch of quarters?
Yeah. So the fun thing about this is I could also do like these loops.
That
And
looks really cool.
How do we do and I could, just going to take out this boss real quick. I've done this a few times, but I've seen some people struggle a little bit more with that than I just did.
It looks really cool. I could actually see this in the arcade too. Like is there plans to have arcade version, like Dave and Buster's type of scenario? That would be super dope.
Nothing planned at this point. I mean, we need to finish the current game first. You know, I will say,
down, Justin, settle down.
you know,
Okay,
you saw it at PAX West.
Yeah.
You saw that Asteroids arcade cabinet that Alan One is doing.
Yeah.
And you know, the guy James over there, he was definitely looking at this, being like, "Huh, that's pretty cool."
No, that's cool.
So, you never know, but definitely nothing in the works at this point.
Now, what do the different colors do?
Okay, so red is your health,
Gotcha.
blue is your boost, yellow is your machine gun, and purple is your missiles. Are your missiles? Is your missiles? You know, whenever I'm describing it, I always kind of struggle with it. And, you know, I'm going to go through this level again, but I'm basically going to choose all the paths I did not take.
Oh, so there's more.
So
This is when the San Francisco Rush kind of stuff kicks in.
yeah, so each level has a series of branching paths, and they come in different ways. And, you know, some are shortcuts, some are just a matter of preference. So this one has a lot more, you know, windy turns than the other one. So it requires some more of that drifting and tighter turns. Others, like in some of the earlier environments, so there's 4 regions in the game. Each one of them has its own boss. And actually, the only way to get to the 4th region is to do well in the first 3. And I'll actually show you, I'm going to intentionally fail. I'm going to say this ahead of time. So when so that sequence where I was outrunning all these buildings falling, in this run, I'm going to let them fall on me. So you'll see that that could also be a detriment for time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So what was the green flash that happened?
The green flash is your
no.
3rd weapon. Like I said, I was gonna die.
I
And
know, but it's still. You told us, but it's still heartbreaking.
are you
Yeah.
okay? Are you gonna be okay?
I don't know.
You want to talk about
Yeah,
it?
the
I'll have to
wheels
see in
just
the future.
squished and popped out. I was like, that's grimy.
Yeah. So that 5th one, that blast is the arc blast. That's a special AOE attack. When you destroy 5 enemies, you can trigger that blast, and that's indicated by the green lights on the back. So you see, I have basically a couple of those notches filled. When that center light is on, that means I can use that arc blast.
That's when you're all juiced up on
Yeah.
gamma radiation.
Exactly. Something like not gamma radiation. This is clean energy. It's clean energy. It's clean energy. We're going with that.
We don't
Yeah.
want Marvel to come after us.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
yeah, as I
no.
was saying, there's 3.
This dude.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Not as intentional as getting
That
squished by
happened
the
to
building.
David and I driving over here
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
in the parking lot.
And you
That's
just
crazy.
respawned. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. So there's 4 regions in the game, and you can access the 4th region by doing well enough in the first 3. So that'll get you like the true ending, or the better ending. There's like a good ending, there's a bad ending, and then there's the you ran out of time ending and everybody died. So someone called that the bad ending. You know, but that's up to
So
interpretation.
what kind of different level varieties are there?
So there's the objectives that I said, but there's each of those 3 regions has their own unique kind of gimmicks to it. So you start off and you're more of an American desert style. There's like a lot more junkyards, things like that. So you'll see some of the shortcuts. So this time I'm going to go right instead of left. So you'll see some of these shortcuts in the desert where you have to like use your missiles to trigger this magnet that'll lift up debris that could take you through these shortcuts. You also might have there's also like this big factory level with multi-tier vehicles, like things that'll squish you if you don't time it right. There's some of these other levels, like you saw the boss fight with that, you could go around the tunnels, right? Well, the level, that's in that Paris region, and that a lot of those levels are in subways and things. So that's the first type of level that'll introduce those tubes that you could spin around in.
That was Paris.
It was the ruins of Paris.
It still felt romantic, though.
I'm happy to hear it. That it's
Yeah,
coming through.
was really
The team would
sexy.
love to hear
It
that.
was.
Yeah, this is actually more the like the Japanese theme level. Then you can tell by some of these like Torii
that's
gates.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's called Crater's Edge. So this is where the crater also hit as well. So you might see some stuff in the environment where you can actually see the crater itself, as part of the experience.
I can tell this is
Something
Japan
more.
because everybody was politely trying to murder you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So some of
Very
the other
respectful.
things you're not seeing, specifically the whole flow of the game is not there. We just have individual levels that you can choose, but you'll be going level to level, and in between those levels, you have these different scenarios where you can choose. You might be able to choose some options to get an item, and you can actually equip modules throughout a run that can modify some behavior of your weapons or your car. So for example, you might have a module that'll turn your machine gun into a shotgun, just as an example.
That's cool.
There's also 6 cars in the game, and they range weight class from light to heavy, and they all have different attributes such as speed, acceleration, armor, and various other settings. So that's also quite a variety. So you could go to your play style if you want to be more nimble, or if you want to be more aggressive with firepower. And between levels, if you enter a shop, also an homage to the first game, you could then choose where you want to invest your rads, which I'll basically pause at the end of this level, and you could see at the end the recap screen. It says how much money you got. So that money is then invested in the shops between levels and can impact your run.
So, can you tell us how, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
can you tell us where to find the game, wish list it? I know obviously you want folks to wish list it,
Absolutely.
but where can you find the game? And I know you have like a trajectory of when it may come out.
Yeah, so the game we've only announced for 2025, and it's going to be coming out on PC through Steam and Epic, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and yeah, wish lists are very much encouraged and appreciated.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and there you go. So you can see the kind of summary here,
Oh, that's
and the rads, the dollars
We made
that I
it.
get.
I'm excited for this because I was a huge fan of like San Francisco Rush and all those games where it's like, yeah, it's about the racing, but it is about like, oh, here's a little sneaky
Yeah.
thing you can do over here, and the combat of this is like, yeah, this is right up my alley.
And that was kind of cool when having the conversation with people at PAX and in like Gamescom when I was showing behind closed doors, is that all the games that people reference, and and these are people that are playing the demo and enjoying the game, they always reference games that are more than 15 years old.
Yep.
And that actually makes me feel pretty good because it shows that this is an underserved market of people that want this kind of game. And I feel it because I'm also in that market, right? The first time when I was playing that demo is going through the whole greenlight process. I wanted this game. I want to play it because I love the burnouts. I love Blur. I love Split Second. I love the San Francisco
yeah.
Rush. Like,
Yeah.
I want to play more of these games.
Beetle Adventure Racing.
Beetle
That's like
Adventure
my favorite
Racing.
N64 titles.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
it's awesome. So like these are all games from like a lost genre that I don't think went away because of necessarily a lack of interest, but maybe there's just a certain ceiling to it,
Yeah.
So there's just something nice about playing a game like this. Turn your brain off, have some fun, go fast. I'm not a huge simulation racing guy, but you put me in a car and let me drift around like quick speeds. I'm in.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for showing us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Check it out. You know what I mean? Soon.
Fatal Run. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Is it like a picture-in-picture? Where would it actually be?
Everybody, let's promise to make it to 2089 in our actual lives and see if the world turns this way.
Exactly.
We might find out by like 80. Be like, oh yeah, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
So,
You never know.
all right.
It's all about when the
I'll see you
comment
guys
is.
in a couple decades. Goodbye,
Deuces.
everybody.
We'll show you some more stuff later.